Things can flip in a heartbeat. One moment you're just going about your day and the next, bam, you're smack in the middle of a situation that's blowing up fast. A peaceful protest, some local argument that gets out of hand, or a big demonstration. Any of these can turn chaotic before you know it, leaving regular folks like us feeling trapped and totally unprepared. We've all seen these kinds of events popping up more often, and the hard truth is, it really can happen anywhere, anytime. What if you actually knew the crucial tactics to get through that kind of storm? What if you were already set up, way before the first hint of trouble even showed up in your neighborhood? Imagine this, the streets you walk every single day are suddenly swarming with a restless crowd. You hear sirens going off, there's a real tension in the air, and you have no idea which way is safe. For a lot of people, that's a nightmare scenario, a total unknown, but it doesn't have to be that way for you. Stick with me, because today we're digging into the vital survival secrets you'll seriously wish you knew sooner. We're talking about the tactics to get you through the chaos if you're caught out, and the essential prep steps to make sure you and your loved ones are ready before anything even kicks off nearby. Civil unrest, whether it's organized marches or spontaneous riots, is something we're seeing more of in the world. These things can erupt with hardly any warning, often sparked by political heat, social issues, or economic troubles. What starts as a peaceful get-together can become a real mess in moments, catching everyday people completely off guard. And we're seeing increasingly dangerous tactics. For instance, some rioters now freeze water bottles solid, turning them into heavy, damaging projectiles that can cause serious harm. Now, if you're not prepared, the danger is massive. You could be on your way home from work, out running errands, or just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Suddenly the routes you know are blocked. Maybe your phone stops working and the usual calm of your day is just shattered. That feeling of being unprepared when things get crazy, it's more than just unsettling, it can be genuinely life-threatening. The initial confusion can quickly spin into panic if you don't have a game plan. And here's something to keep in mind. Police and emergency services are often stretched incredibly thin in these situations. Their main job is to manage the bigger crisis, not necessarily to look out for every single person caught in the middle. This isn't about trying to scare you, it's about facing a real-world risk and arming yourself with knowledge. Because in those moments, knowing what to do, and just as importantly, what not to do, can make all the difference. If you suddenly find yourself in the middle of civil unrest, what you do right then and there is critical. Panic is your worst enemy. A clear head and a plan are your best friends. So here are the survival secrets for weathering that storm. Secret number 1. Situational awareness and escape routes. This is your absolute number one defense always. Situational awareness isn't just about glancing around, it's about actively understanding what's happening in your environment, spotting potential threats, and, this is key, figuring out your ways out. If you have to travel into a city, arm yourself with detailed maps identifying potential protest or hotspots and multiple escape routes. Know which roads might be closed due to riots or even construction. Always plan your route thoroughly before you travel. Even before you smell trouble, get into the habit of noting multiple exits wherever you are. Think side streets, alleyways, or even sturdy public buildings like hotels or hospitals, though you probably want to steer clear of government buildings or banks, as they can be targets. If a crowd is gathering or on the move, take a mental note of which way it's going and how intense it seems. Watch for those red flags of rising tension, people shouting, things being thrown, and be aware these can be anything from rocks to dangerously hard frozen water bottles, or a heavy police presence. If you find yourself in a crowd, consciously look for openings to move towards the edges. You don't want to get pinned against walls or barricades where you can't move. If you're driving, remember that roads can get blocked up fast. Always have a few alternative routes in mind to get out of an area. If something just feels off or dangerous, trust that gut feeling. Leave the area calmly, but quickly. Don't hang around to see what happens next. The sooner you spot a situation going south, the more options you'll have. And if civil unrest is brewing locally, now might be the opportune moment to launch your personal drone, if you have one, and it's safe and legal to do so, to get a crucial bird's-eye view of the developing situation. Secret number 2, blending in de-escalation and active escape. If you do get caught in a crowd, your main goal is to become invisible, to be the gray man. Don't do anything that draws attention to yourself. That means no provocative clothing, and make sure your car or truck is free of political bumper stickers that could make you a target. Don't get into arguments or start chanting, and definitely don't film or take pictures of security folks or the unrest in a way that makes you stick out. Keep your head down if you need to, and try to move with the general flow of people, not against it, until you can safely break away. De-escalation is super important. Don't provoke demonstrators or get in their way. If someone confronts you, stay as calm as you possibly can. Use non-threatening body language. Keep your hands open. Avoid staring them down if it feels like it's escalating things, and give them their personal space. Speak calmly, and if someone's agitated, sometimes just letting them vent can cool things down. Your goal isn't to win an argument or prove a point, it's to get yourself out of there and to safety. If someone gets aggressive towards you, your priority is to remove yourself from that situation, not to make it worse. Remember, stuff can be replaced, your life can't. If rioters try to take your property, it's often best to comply if it means avoiding violence. However, if de-escalation fails or isn't an option, and you need to create an opportunity to escape, deploying personal defense tear gas, if you have it and know how to use it safely, can be an option to disorient an aggressor and allow you to run. Secret number 3, what to do if exposed to irritants like tear gas or pepper spray. Tear gas and pepper spray are, well, pretty common for crowd control, and honestly, they can be incredibly nasty and disorienting. You're talking burning eyes, skin irritation, trouble breathing, and even nausea. So, if you see those canisters go off, or you start feeling the effects, here's what you need to do. First thing, get out of the cloud. Move to higher ground if you can, since many of these agents are heavier than air. Walk, don't run. Running makes you breathe faster and, unfortunately, suck in more of the irritant. Try to keep your breathing as even as possible. For your eyes, whatever you do not rub them. Blink like crazy to help your eyes tear up, which will help flush the stuff out. If you have clean water, like from a bottle, flush your eyes immediately and generously for a good 10 to 15 minutes. Tilt your head to the side for each eye. Plain cool water works well. There's no solid proof that milk or baking soda solutions are any better. Baby shampoo? Also no better than just water. And avoid using makeup wipes if water isn't handy, as they can actually make the irritation worse. If you wear contact lenses, try to get them out before you flush, or have someone help you, because they can trap the irritants. For your skin, once you're in a safer, well-ventilated spot, change your clothes as soon as you can, as the powder can stick to them. Take a shower in cold water for at least 20 minutes and wash your hair really well. Hot water can open up your pores and make the irritation worse. Try not to let contaminated water run onto parts of your skin that weren't affected. Seal up the contaminated clothes in a bag until they can be washed separately. For breathing, try to breathe slowly. Coughing and spitting can help get rid of contaminants. If you have asthma or other breathing conditions, these irritants can be especially dangerous, so getting out of the area needs to be your top priority. And if your symptoms are severe or don't get better after about 30 minutes once you've decontaminated, you need to get medical help. Secret number 4, communication and the buddy system. In chaotic situations, communication can easily go down. Cell networks might get overloaded or even shut down on purpose. If you're with family or friends, stick together. Seriously, hold hands or lock elbows, especially if you're in a dense crowd. If you have small kids, carry them. Before you even go into any area that might be volatile, if you absolutely have to, decide on a clear meeting point and a backup one, just in case you get separated. Share your location with trusted contacts outside the affected area whenever it's safe. If cell service is patchy, remember that text messages often get through when calls won't. Agree beforehand on simple all okay phrases for check-ins. You might even want to set a schedule for check-ins if the situation looks like it's going to drag on. A battery-powered or crank radio can be a lifesaver for getting official news and updates if other channels are down. Consider a police scanner like a Uniden SDS 100 or a similar model to monitor emergency frequencies for real-time information. If you notice some of the rioters using handheld radios, the odds are you can pick up those channels using such a scanner. This can make it easier to understand their movements and potentially counter their actions, but always be aware that raw scanner traffic needs careful interpretation. And don't just rely on social media for info, as it can be full of rumors. Always try to get news from official sources. Secret number 5, last resort defensive measures. This is something honestly no one wants to think about, but in truly extreme situations, your immediate survival might depend on it. If things get horribly worse and you are facing an imminent, life-threatening attack where escape or de-escalation is impossible, you may have to defend yourself. If you are forced to use a firearm in a purely defensive measure as an absolute last resort, the unfortunate reality is that you should shoot to neutralize the threat, not to maim. This is a grave decision with immense consequences and should only ever be considered when there are no other options to preserve life. Honestly, the best way to survive civil unrest is to be prepared long before it even hints at happening. This isn't about being paranoid, it's about practical, smart readiness. Prep step number 1. Essential bug-out bag items for civil unrest. A well-stocked bug-out bag, or go bag, is absolutely crucial if you need to get out fast. For civil unrest situations, your BOB should have the usual basics plus some specific items. You need water and water purification, at least a 72-hour supply, so think about 3 liters per person, per day. And definitely include a portable filter or purification tablets. Non-perishable food is important too, like high-energy bars, canned goods. Don't forget a manual can opener, dried foods, just things that will keep you going. Your first aid kit needs to be more than just a few band-aids. Think trauma supplies like pressure dressings, plenty of gauze, antiseptic wipes, and a tourniquet. And make sure you know how to use it. Also, any personal prescription meds you need, a month's supply is ideal if you can manage it. Personal protective equipment is next. Masks, like N95 or P100 respirators, are good for dust and some airborne stuff. For chemical irritants like tear gas, a full-face gas mask with the right CBRN-rated filters gives the best protection if you think things could get really serious. At the very least, have several good quality masks like N95S or surgical masks. Eye protection is also important. You need shatter-resistant goggles or sealed eye protection. These are vital against flying debris, projectiles, and chemical irritants. And don't forget gloves. Get some durable work gloves. Communication is another key area. A battery-powered or hand-crank AM/FM radio is a must. A fully charged power bank for your phone is also key. A police scanner like the Uniden SDS-100 can be invaluable. Maybe even consider walkie-talkies for short-range communication with your group if cell networks are toast. For lighting, an LED flashlight or a headlamp with extra batteries, you really can't have too many. Navigation matters too, so have actual physical maps of your local area and region. Don't just rely on your phone's GPS. Pack a change of durable, neutral-colored clothes that won't make you stand out. Comfortable, sturdy, closed-toe shoes you can move quickly in are essential. A rain poncho is a good idea too. For shelter, a lightweight emergency blanket or a small tarp can make a big difference. Tools like a good multi-tool or a sturdy knife are incredibly useful. And duct tape. Never underestimate duct tape. Keep copies of important documents like IDs, insurance info, and medical stuff in a waterproof bag. Have some cash in small bills because ATMs and card readers might not be working. And finally, hygiene items, hand sanitizer, wet wipes, basic toiletries. This bag needs to be packed and ready to grab, stored somewhere you can get to it easily. Prep step number 2, home preparedness considerations. If the unrest is just in one area and you decide that staying put is safer than trying to leave, your home needs to be your safe zone, not a trap. Think about reinforcing your doors with deadbolts and door jammers. You can apply security film to your windows to make them harder to break. This can help stop break-ins or protect against things like bricks or even those frozen water bottles rioters might hurl. It's a good idea to have materials like plywood on hand to board up windows if things get really bad. Beyond what's in your bug-out bag, try to have at least a 3-day supply of food and water for everyone in your household. A 2-week supply is even better if you can swing it. And hey, don't forget that manual can opener. Stock up on hygiene supplies like toilet paper, wet wipes, and hand sanitizer. Make sure you have a well-stocked first aid kit that's easy to get to. If you have babies, ensure you have enough formula and diapers. And don't forget your pet's needs. Power outages are pretty common during these events. Have plenty of flashlights, lanterns, and extra batteries. A portable power station or even a generator can be a huge help if it's something you can get. If you think unrest might be coming, fill up your bathtubs with water for sanitation, or as backup drinking water, after you purify it, of course. Make sure your smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors are working. Have fire extinguishers ready and know how to use them. During times of unrest, try not to draw attention to your home. Keep lights low or use curtains, especially at night when disturbances often ramp up. If you have a decent relationship with your neighbors, it's worth talking about a basic neighborhood watch or a communication plan. A community that looks out for each other is often a safer one. In extreme situations, where law and order have broken down and rioters pose a direct threat to your homes or neighborhood, it may become necessary to organize a show of force. Know that some of these rioters are paid thugs with nothing else to do. If they are confronted with a determined, organized group of locals visibly defending their territory, they might well think twice before pressing an attack. This could involve getting as many responsible, armed individuals as possible, wearing masks for identity protection if needed, with AR-15s or other suitable firearms in hand, to visibly and capably block rioters from entering the location you are trying to protect. This is a significant step, and should be a coordinated effort focused on defense. Prep step number 3. Information gathering and staying informed, safely. Knowledge really is power, especially when you're talking about potential civil unrest. Keep an eye on local and national news from established, trustworthy outlets. Follow the official social media accounts of your city's police department, local government, and emergency management offices for verified instructions. If your area has local emergency alerts, sign up for them. Look, platforms like Twitter or Facebook can give you real-time updates, but they're also hotbeds for misinformation and rumors. Always try to cross-reference information with official or multiple credible sources before you act on it. Be aware of what's happening locally and nationally that might spark unrest. Things like controversial trial verdicts, big political decisions, or anniversaries of tense events. Large-scale demonstrations are often planned, which can give you some warning. Think about getting a good police scanner, like the United SDS-100, or a shortwave radio, so you can monitor emergency frequencies or amateur radio chats. These can sometimes provide unfiltered, on-the-ground info. Crucially, if you notice rioters using handheld radios, your scanner might be able to pick up their channels, giving you insight into their plans and making it easier to anticipate or counter their moves. But again, always try to verify and interpret scanner traffic cautiously. If safe and legal, a personal drone can provide invaluable real-time aerial reconnaissance of your local area during unrest. There are some apps out there that provide real-time alerts on security incidents and travel disruptions both globally and locally. Might be worth looking into. Prep step number 4, mental preparedness and mindset. This might be the most important survival tool you have, your mindset. Panic will paralyze you. A calm, prepared mind can adapt and figure things out. And alongside mental fortitude, it must be stressed that being physically fit is so important. Your ability to move, endure, and potentially escape can be significantly enhanced by good physical condition, so work on this before the next sign of trouble. It's totally natural to feel anxious about the possibility of civil unrest. Admitting those feelings is the first step to managing them. Visualize different scenarios and how you'd respond. This isn't about dwelling on fear, but about mentally walking through your plans. Your escape routes, your communication tree, how you'd use the stuff in your bug-out bag, and even the gravest decisions you might face. This kind of mental practice can actually lower your anxiety and speed up your reaction time if something real happens. You can't control what's happening outside, but you can control how prepared you are and how you react. Focus your energy on what you can do, build your kits, make your plans, learn new skills. No plan ever goes perfectly according to script when things get real. Be ready to change your plans based on how the situation is unfolding. Being too rigid can be dangerous. If unrest is ongoing or you're stuck sheltering for a while, try to keep some kind of normal routine going, especially if you have kids. It can really help reduce stress. During stressful times, it's so important to look after your mental health. Connect with your loved ones even if it's just remotely. Take breaks from constantly watching the news if it's getting to be too much. Practice calming techniques like deep breathing. Know your rights and the local laws about self-defense, use of force, and emergency protocols. And always comply with lawful instructions from law enforcement during official states of emergency or curfews. Getting caught in civil unrest can be a seriously frightening experience, but as we've talked about, there are definite steps you can take. both right in the heat of the moment and long before trouble even starts. The secrets really boil down to staying aware of your surroundings, knowing how to de-escalate, escape, and when necessary, defend. But just as crucial are those proactive steps, building a bug-out bag that's tailored to these situations, securing your home and even preparing for community defense, staying reliably informed and building a resilient mindset, including your physical fitness. These aren't just random tips, they are vital layers of protection for you and your family. If you found these survival secrets helpful, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel out. Go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell for more essential survival and preparedness content, so you don't miss out on future insights. And most importantly, share this video. Share it with your friends, your family, anyone you care about who needs to know these potentially life-saving tactics. So, what's your biggest concern when it comes to civil unrest? Or what's one preparedness tip you absolutely swear by? Share your thoughts and your own survival secrets in the comments below. Let's learn from each other and build a more prepared community. Stay safe, stay aware, and stay prepared.